All right, so this is the last part, winding down. This is like, if I get a little emotional, don't laugh at me, okay?
Never.
You're not gonna laugh,
Never.
but you know. All right, the last thing that our learning is super, super important, I think, is discerning my purpose. Anybody had that struggle before?
Yes.
Why am I here, God? What do you want from me? So discerning my purpose was the second thing. I'm sorry, I lost my spine, just getting it back. Oh, okay, boom. The last part of my journey and the most transformative experience I've ever had was when God showed me my purpose. I was struggling professionally and I needed to know. My career goal was to become a school social worker, and because I literally became addicted to school, I achieved that goal before I hit 30. I honestly thought I did what I was supposed to. But the school I worked for, in my opinion, was causing more harm than good. I was very vocal about my feelings as well. I decided to leave. In fact, after being rejected from 20 positions, I started to feel stuck. I wanted to leave, but I couldn't leave. Half the staff was let go by May 2019, yet I still had a job that I hated. I didn't have my license yet in social work, so schools were not hiring me because if you're not really if you don't really have a license, you're not really a social worker. That summer, we went to church camp, and the message was echo. How do you echo Jesus in your life daily? With your actions and words. I took that to heart and applied it. I was offered a school social work job that I have now in an elementary school. Took my exam 1 week after the interview, and I received my passing score the day before I started. I am at my peak. I did it and I achieved my goals. Now I'm thinking about relaxing, thinking if I should be settling down. Like I did what I was supposed to do. At least that's what I thought. Negative. I learned very quickly the importance of taming a wild tongue. My new job was much more toxic than my old. I cried every day for the first month because I was heartbroken by what I saw. I went above and beyond to make matters more difficult. I was not being paid due to a technical error regarding my start date, and my pay had been delayed. I was not able to pay any of my bills the first 2 months, but because I was always a good steward with my funds, I was able to use my savings. I highlight that point because I asked the two main people in my life who depended on me the most when they hit hard times. And do y'all think they were there to help me?
No.
Nope.
No.
Fast forward 2 years of evidence of my work have been 2 years of me working at the school, and everybody could see I'm phenomenal. I'm a COVID social worker for the DOE, okay? So, and I survived. So by this time, the evidence of my work had been clear. Right? I even had my pastor come to church, and they were like, how do you get people to talk about Jesus in a school? Well, we're in a pandemic, and people are dying, and this is the best time to introduce them to Jesus. I don't care where I work. That has nothing to do with my relationship with Jesus. If you ask me how I'm coping, this is how, that's it.
That's it.
So by 2022, I had lost 50 pounds. I sacrificed my car and struggled to keep an appetite. I was diagnosed with fibroids and had to spend on dental procedures that were a result of never going to get a dental checkup. By May 2022, my doctor ordered me to stay home for 2 weeks for mental health leave. And I didn't say this before, but this is because of stress, if you didn't know. This is work-related stress. By May 2022, my doctor ordered me to stay home for 2 weeks of mental health leave. That was 2 weeks before my annual resilience camp for my nonprofit. I was so overwhelmed and worn out that I contemplated dissolving my organization altogether. The mental health leave gave me the freedom and rest I needed to focus on my camp. It ended up being my most transformational camp because God used the participants that year to show me that rhyme is my ministry, not being a school social worker. So in the new school year, I went in with a new mindset. This is my JOB. You got the best of me from 8 to 2. And after that, I focus on rhyme. And it has been working. Since then, I saw much elevation. We started to contract with colleges, other community organizations, and just started getting more and more exposure. By summer of 2023, though, I was starting to feel overwhelmed. I had family health issues. I was angry with myself, feeling like I don't make enough time to fellowship with others, and frustrated that I'm working so hard to help kids and I don't understand why, because I was feeling lonely. And I felt like I was so busy. How in the world do I feel lonely? Like now I'm starting to resent, or I don't have the heart to help the way that I had. So out of trying to encourage myself in solitude, I started asking God, why am I depressed? Why do I feel lonely and frustrated doing the right things? I'll never forget, my vision shifted to the very first time I felt that feeling. So now I just spoke to God just to make it very clear. And I asked him to show me why I feel this way. And why does he want me to work with young people? Why does he want me to do mental health? Right? And I had a vision in that moment. And this is what I saw in the vision. It was me. I saw a little girl, and it was me at 6 years old. It was after I had been molested and threatened not to say anything. I resented my parents for being so focused on their lives that they never noticed that something was wrong with me. I saw a little girl sitting alone, and I heard a voice tell me what she needed. And out of my mouth, I said, I needed attention and love. Out of nowhere, I just said, I needed attention and love. Like I'm looking at myself. Then God showed me that the little girl who did not get attention, did not feel love, who was violated and tainted, which sounds like wickedness to me, she did not allow any of it to keep her from being the best she could. She is okay. I'm okay. She has 3 degrees. She's a homeowner, a business owner, and a role model to young people. She is okay. Then I saw that I hugged myself. And I felt a sense of relief. And in the vision, I closed my eyes. And when I opened them, I didn't see the little me anymore. Instead, I saw a vision of me holding a little girl at my event 2 weeks before. Then I saw me hugging a little boy who was misunderstood by his teacher. Then I saw a little girl who lost her mom and her dad is incarcerated. And all the kids I worked with over the last 10 years, God said, you are assigned to stand in the gap for every young person whose parents could not give them what they needed. Amen. I started crying with joy. Who am I that he would speak to me? That he would answer me? That he would comfort me? It tasted so good. I called my friend Maybelline, who goes to New York Life Church, and God put her in my life because I was praying for Kingdom friends at a time, and I didn't have no friends, and she popped up in my life, and now we cool. And I wanted to talk to somebody about this because I couldn't believe it. She was the first person that came to mind, and she answered the phone, and she cried, and she prayed with me, and we worshiped together. We were on the phone for over 2-3 hours, I promise you, because we just couldn't believe. And I felt the presence of God so closely, and she could feel it through the phone because she just, we both were crying. And I don't know why she was crying, but It was something. It was something I've never experienced. So since then, I am free.
Amen.
I know God is watching me.
Yes.
He loves me and he keeps his promises.
Yes.
I know that 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 I know.
Yes.
Okay? So when I speak with authority and with confidence. And I'm going to show you how. I'm going to tell you how as I close. The last quarter of 2023, after this encounter, my fourth quarter amplified. These are the victories that I had in the fourth quarter. My suicide awareness walk made the local news. I was featured and published in 4 magazines and 1 anthology. I was able to raise $3,000 in 3 weeks for my men's resilience camp happening in 2 weeks. Now, the best thing about that fundraiser, I wasn't sure we were going to make it. We were halfway by Thanksgiving. And then a family from Church City called me on Thanksgiving Day and said, I saw that you needed 50 people to donate $25. We decided to cover the 50 people.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
And that's in my church home.
Amen.
Right?
Amen.
And that was a blessing because I had the pleasure of working with their child doing therapy, and they felt the way that I worked, and they felt like they believed in me and they believed in my ministry, and they took it up. God put it on their heart to do that. Though it was tough, I pulled an A- GPA on my first semester in my doctoral program.
Nice.
And finally, last month, I was able to contract with TBN to publish my 3rd book, The Ultimate Social Worker's Diary, coming soon this summer. I say all that to say, the season of singleness is a gift because you can test and approve the training you received as a child. You can choose to depart from the wicked ones you may have been born into. Then and only then, I believe, you will experience the type of healing that brings wholeness. Why skip the process of attaining wholeness to be a half in an unfulfilled marriage? All the happy married people I know are fulfilled because they were whole and confident enough not to settle. I believe in 1 Corinthians 13:11, it says, when I was a child, I spoke as a child. I did something else as a child. But when I became a man, right, I put my childish ways behind me, right? Adulthood is the season, or singleness is the season to put your childish ways behind you. 2 statements blessed me from going to different events, singles, or whatever the last 6 years that really resonated with me that I want to share back with you. Marriage is not a requirement, and singleness is not a disease.
That's right.
Both are gifts from God for their own separate reasons. It does not matter which one you're in. All that matters is that God has you in the current season for a reason. What is it? Are you doing it? If you don't know, are you seeking it? I believe I'm called to break generational cycles of trauma and mental health through my resilience camps. If you believe you know what God has called you to break, or what cycle in your family He's called you to break, but you haven't answered, come join me at the altar. If you don't know and you are seeking an answer from God, please come join me at the altar. Come and make your way down. I resonate with Anna. She embraced her season and focused on her assignment. If you don't know about Anna was a widow. She was married for 7 years before her husband passed at war. And Anna decided to devote her life to growing the children and teaching them about God and just being that person in the community, right? And 84 years after her husband died, so either she's 84 or a little bit older, 84 years after her husband dies, she was still in her same position in the temple, teaching children when Joseph and Mary came with a new baby to circumcise. And she did it. And then when Jesus he was lost for those 3 days, guess who he was with? Guess. Who was Jesus with? Anna. You know what I took from that? I was like, yo, all of these kids that stress me out, one of them could be Jesus. God is using me to raise up a Jesus somewhere. There's a kid that could be lost and their parent is confused, like Mary and Joseph was. And I have to come in and step in, fill in that gap for that moment. So I thank God for the revelation and the gift